Hey everybody, it's Mike Frieder here with On-Call Compliance Solutions, and I'm back with another compliance tip of the week. Today we're talking about DFARS, NIST SP 800-171, and CMMC, understanding the Christian Doctrine and what it means for you. So hey, if you're a defense contractor who's feeling overwhelmed, tired, and alone, trying to understand all of this DFARS, NIST SP 800-171, and CMMC compliance stuff, I've got great news for you. You found your home here at On-Call Compliance Solutions, where we can help you transform into your company's on-call compliance hero. Let's jump into it. So you guys, I am pretty excited about this week's topic because, as you know from following this channel, we get in-depth and nitty-gritty on uncovering what all of this crazy DoD and government contracting compliance stuff really is, how it really affects you, and what it all really means. I mean, hey, obviously there's a ton of confusion when it comes to government contracting, working for primes, and you pretty much just triple that when it comes to defense contracting or working for a defense contractor. So in this video, I'm going to do the best job I possibly can of explaining the Christian doctrine. And no, I don't mean the religious one, believe me. I think it's in everyone's best interest to stay on topic with this one and help you understand one of the most important underlying principles that exists and why, if you are in any way involved in defense work, even if you haven't signed a contract, you likely fall under these legal requirements to properly secure your information and IT systems when dealing with defense-related information. So let's start with a little definition. What on earth is the Christian Doctrine? In the context of U.S. government contracting, with Christian Doctrine refers to a legal principle that allows for the incorporation of mandatory contract clauses into government contracts by operation of law. Even if they are not expressly included in the contract's written terms, this doctrine, named after the landmark case GL Christian and Associates v. United States in 1963. Here's a brief overview of the Christian Doctrine and U.S. government contracting. First off, mandatory clauses. The doctrine applies to clauses that are considered mandatory under a federal law or regulation. And DFARS 252.204-7012, NIST SP 800-171, all that stuff, it is. These are clauses that the government is required to include in its contracts to implement certain public policies. Automatic incorporation. If a mandatory clause is omitted from the contract, the Christian Doctrine allows the clause to be read into the contract as if it had been included from the beginning. This ensures that the contract complies with all the relevant laws and regulations. Next, legal precedent. The GL Christian and Associates v. United States case established that certain procurement regulations, specifically those that are mandatory, must be included in government contracts, regardless of whether they are explicitly mentioned in the contract or not. Impact on contractors. Contractors must be aware that they are bound by all mandatory clauses, even if those clauses are not explicitly listed in their contracts. This underscores the importance of understanding the legal and regulatory framework governing federal contracts. Again, this is different from private sector. Examples of mandatory clauses. Some examples of mandatory clauses include those related to equal employment opportunity, labor standards, and of course, information security laws when it comes to DFARS and compliance with various federal statutes and regulations. The Christian Doctrine ensures that government contracts align with statutory and regulatory requirements, promoting fairness, transparency, and accountability in public procurement. So, now that we know what it is, let's make a few common sense conclusions about what this really means for you. First off, if you've been made aware by any prime contractor or any client that is your client, the work you are doing is defense in nature. All of a sudden, all of this DFARS, NIST SP 800-171, and CMMC stuff applies to you. So, if you have been wondering if that is the case, or especially if you have been getting questionnaires from them asking about compliance, that is why, and yes, this applies to you. So again, yes, it applies to you, even if you have not specifically signed a contract stating that you will be compliant. Second, how it applies to you if you are a subcontractor or if you are doing business with another defense contractor is via a mechanism called flow-down, whereby in the law itself, it is mandated that a company passing on defense information required to do the work automatically flows these requirements down to you and makes them applicable. Here's the crazy part. Many primes and defense contractors are not correctly flowing down these contract clauses as they should be. They should be literally copying and pasting the law. That is, in this case, DFARS 252.204-7012, which requires DFARS and NIST SP 800-171 compliance into your agreement to work with them. However, the reality is that many just do not do this. Yes, they are supposed to. They just don't. Many companies don't have this figured out correctly yet, but it is improving all the time, and more companies are. More importantly, it's the law. So, what if they don't include it? Well, it turns out that doesn't matter, and that is exactly why the Christian Doctrine exists. It exists to protect the government against non-compliance with the law in the event someone else does not put it into their contract. The way I often describe this is I tell a little story that goes something like this. You're walking along one day and decide that it's a beautiful day to commit some GTA, right? A little Grand Theft Auto, and steal someone's car and take it for a joyride. And you know what? Hey, while we're at it, let's use that car to rob a bank and maybe even take a few hostages. Wow. At no point did you ever sign a contract saying you would not do any of those things. But for sure, you're definitely going to jail because that's the law. And that is how the Christian doctrine works. So, if you've been wondering if all of this DFARS, NIST, SP 800-171, and CMMC stuff applies to you, now you know. The bottom line is that if you have in any way been made aware by a client that you are involved in defense work, yes, you must be compliant in your handling of their information. And if you don't know what to do about it, or you're just really getting into this compliance stuff because you've just seen a contract flow across your desk that you need to solve for, or you've been told you need to solve for, guess what? At On Call, we take defense contractors just like you who have had this DFARS, NIST, CMMC, ITAR, and EAR information security compliance stuff dropped in their laps like a seagull on a sunny day. And we teach you how to level up and be a proper on-call compliance hero for your company, eliminating gaps, gray areas, and getting this solved, all while showing you how to leverage compliance as your secret weapon to land more defense work with higher profit margins. Now that's what becoming an on-call compliance hero can do for you. If you're looking for more help getting compliant, our compliance experts are always on call for you. Visit cmmccompliancesecrets.com or check out the description below for links to get help right now. If you love the content we're putting out here for you, help us out with a big thumbs up on that like button, or even better, smash the subscribe button to get the latest compliance content as soon as our compliance nerds roll it out. Until the next compliance tip, my friends, stay safe and secure out there, and hit us in the comments below to let us know what you'd like to know more about when it comes to information security and compliance. I'll see you on the next one.